When I look at skin color, I appreciate diversity. I wouldn't want us to blend into one color and for there to be just one race on this earth. Truly, when you look at the ebony models that are that extremely dark chocolate brown, their beauty is very rare. I have several friends from Nigeria and also from Africa. A lot of them have brought me African caftans. So if you see me in an African caftan, do not say that I'm being prejudiced or that I shouldn't wear the caftan because I'm white and it's against your African culture. It was a gift from my African friends. But what I'm saying is, have you ever seen the white people that have the milk white skin? And they look so amazing and beautiful, like the most glowing skin. I love Mediterranean men that have the olive skin with the olive green eyes or the sea green eyes. Oh my gosh, I think that they are so attractive. In fact, I'm more attracted to the Middle Eastern looking men rather than American men. I worked for the Japanese for 7 years. They were the kindest people that I ever met in my entire lifetime. They treated me better than any American company could ever think of treating me. I had 52 holidays, paid holidays. Every Christmas I got a Christmas bonus. My health insurance and benefits were fully paid. The only reason that I stopped working for the Japanese was in the 7th year there was some kind of trade problem between the U.S. and Japan, and our Houston office was closing. I have nothing against China. I shop from Temu all the time. I love Temu. It is such a fun site to get on and find really, really cute things to wear. I love that they have gothic things. I love that they have, like really interesting prints, bohemian looking prints. So I don't have a prejudice bone in my body. And I'm not going to let any race of people try to manipulate me into guilt that there's no reason for me to have guilt. Some black people insist that every white person should have guilt and walk around saying, I'm sorry for things that they didn't even do to them. The people that are living today have not done anything to you. If anything, it's the radical people who shouldn't be classified as whites. They should be classified as radicals. That's what they are. They are hateful human beings that have no respect for any race of people or any other person other than themselves. I wish that I had a wig and I could dress up as Wanda Sykes. Not because I'm making fun of her, because I think she's the funniest character that I could ever emulate. I love Cat Williams. Sometimes I walk around the house and I find myself paraphrasing some of the skits that he's done. I just think that he's so hilarious. All of my life I've listened to black music. I love soul and blues music. It's actually my favorite kind of music. I have a lot of black friends, But there have been instances in the past where I had to end a friendship because one of my black friends is like, just over the top with the thing about, oh, well, white people this, white people that. And I would be like, hey, take it easy. I've never done anything to you. One time, out of pure innocence, I'm not a person who's ever been around children. I've never had children. Up until about 2 years ago, I've never even seen babies born. I've never been to the hospital to look at babies. So one of my black friends that was my coworker, and we were really close friends, her daughter had a baby, and she was black. Well, when she sent me pictures of her grandchild, the first thing that came out of my mouth is the baby looks white. And my friend took that as like a stab in the chest, like I had said something so bad. But the baby was white, pretty much white. Now, I've never seen black babies being born. I've never even went to the hospital and seen white babies because I'm just not a person who's around children a lot. So we went back and forth for a long time, like, well, why does that hurt you? First of all, I'm just saying that it looks white. So she said, well, that's so upsetting because you know what happened in the slave days. So many black women were raped by white men, and in our genes, there's probably a lot of, white ancestry. And for us, that's a very touchy subject. Well, I wasn't trying to be mean. It was just something that I said because a lot of times I just speak my mind and I just say whatever comes up. I'm not, a person that censors what I say. Let's see. Another time, I was a supervisor at a job, and I was the only white person over a all black staff, and they hated me no matter how nice I tried to be, no matter how good of a supervisor I tried to be. Every day I heard the whispers, that white bitch thinks she can tell us what to do. That white bitch, just awful. I ended up quitting a good job after 8 months because every day, no matter how good I tried to be, they wouldn't let me into their circle. And that's unfortunate because I am a great supervisor. I am a very fair person. I guess, well, I'm trying to think of some of the other things, between blacks and whites that are touchy subjects. It's always going to be something that is hard to talk about because I perfectly understand that the history that they're trying to cover up, that our white president, Donald Trump, is trying to erase, is so important to you. I know that what happened to blacks was absolutely a horrible thing. But I also think about, well, look what happened to Jews. Look what happened to the American Indian. I'm Hungarian. Part of my people were exterminated just like the Jews. They went into Hungary and took the Hungarians and the Polish people, which are also my ancestry. So historically, human beings have been so cruel to others that I don't know if it's ever going to stop. Look at the Jews who killed over 300,000 Palestinians. They're neighbors. There's only an imaginary line between Israel and Gaza. But they went to bed every night while their neighbors were being brutally murdered and bombed. Now, you know what? I have both Jewish friends and I have Palestinian friends. Real friendships. And I have to tell my Jewish friends that it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that they allowed their neighbors to be murdered, to see children starving every day. And now that Iran is bombing Israel, my friends don't want me to say that I'm happy about that, but absolutely, as a psychic, I told them, I believe it's absolute karma. You think in life that you're going to get away with cruelty and that it's never going to come back to you. But every single thing that you do does return to you in a karmic way. So whether you are white, black, Mexican, if you were going around fueling hate by saying stupid white people, stupid black people, stupid Mexicans, stupid Chinese, whatever. Every time those words come out of your mouth, you're contributing to hate continuing between the races. And we shouldn't be headed in that direction. We should be headed to world peace. We should be doing everything that we can do to forgive each other, to start living in the present instead of the past. If we dwelled on everything that happened in the past, none of us will ever get over what has been committed against us. None of us. You can't live in the past. You have to live for today. You have to live in the future. You have to think about world peace. And that includes accepting all races. That includes not insulting other races. Now, my main fear, and I feel things very psychically and very in depth, and they are usually correct, is I didn't think that the parody of Druski versus Erika Kirk was just a funny skit. Even if it started out that way, I could see it fueling into something that could become lethal or dangerous for either side. So remember that immediately when this came out, blacks were so angry. Blacks were angry because Erika Kirk said, well, if I dressed up as blackface, I would lose my job. I would, be hated across America. And then blacks were saying, well, we don't apologize for what Druski did. It was funny. It was hilarious. And it was. It was. Because he truly meant it in a comedy way. But many blacks got on social media and immediately started threatening whites. You cannot have a double standard. You cannot sit there and say, oh, well, we can do it. We can do it as a joke or a parody. But if you do it, it's an absolute fighting issue, and see what happens and make threats. Because let me tell you something. If one crazy, one Erika Kirk fanatical person decides they don't like what Druski said, and they decide to make an example out of Druski, the intention would be to cause absolute chaos, absolute division between whites and blacks, and they would use it to the fullest extent to distract you from what's going on, the Epstein files, the war, the robbery that is happening in our own government against the American people. They will use that as fuel. So don't let that get to you. Don't fall for their plan. They're going to be doing everything to upset you. They're going to be pitting people against each other, especially blacks and whites, because that is like one of the main things that would upset everybody. They know that it is like an explosion.